I just bought a welder. And a couple other things. Now let's ravenously rip this thing's guts out and get it out of the box. Beautiful, isn't she? But before we use this thing, we gotta read the operator's manual. Now, welders are dangerous, and they are not toys. So I'm gonna take my time and kind of learn what the hell I'm doing here. If I'm honest, this was a bit of an impulse buy, and while I plan to use it a lot, I didn't really do a whole lot of research about welding before I bought it. So I'm gonna do that now. So, some context for this project. A while back, I found myself wandering alone through Lowe's for an hour, as I often do, and I thought to myself, hey, what if I made Saruman's staff? So I got this sheet of 1/8 inch steel and decided to cut out the fins, and of course, like an idiot, I didn't film any of it because this wasn't originally going to be a video. But I also bought one of those lawn ornament solar light things, and I painted the inside of it after looking at some reference photos. And you can kind of see my thought process here with how this is all fitting together. Finally, an 8-foot steel pipe. This is sort of a proof of concept here, but I still have quite a bit of work to do. Starting with these little sections. I'm gonna call them sub-fins, because they're like smaller little mini fins in between the big fins on the staff. And I'm not gonna be giving precise measurements with this project because, well, it's not exactly a tutorial. I just sort of want to show my own creative process and how I went about making this, and hopefully inspire you and light some sort of creative spark in you to take on new hobbies and challenges and create things your own way instead of just copying me. Anyways, moving on from my pretentious rant. I began marking out the lines for the sub-fins by running a line from the very bottom tip of the fin to the middle spike. And with the help of some reference photos, just kind of freehanding it from there. Traced over it a second time because I really wanted to accentuate the little dip right in the middle. Once that's all marked up, we can move on to the cutting station. Be sure to wear some good gloves that are going to protect you because metal gets hot. And hey, come here. Yeah, come here. Yep, we're putting these on. Trust me, your beautiful eyes will appreciate it. Now, it's time to go get completely covered in metal shavings. Hit the music, Johnny!
To dungeons deep and caverns old, the pines were roaring on the high, the winds were moaning in the
One down, 3 more to go.
fire.
Now we're going to use this one as a template to mark the other 3.
It flaming spread, the trees like torches.
And then we're ready for a lot of cutting.
Understood. Nor will I be responsible for his fate.
Don't do that. Now, of course, to avoid slicing our body parts open, we have to grind this down and get rid of all the burrs and sharp edges and all those wonderful sorts of things that are gonna open up new and unwelcome bloody holes on your body. There's an idea. Nah, but maybe someday. Now I used the first subfin that I cut out as a template to trace onto the other one so that I could get them all to be the same perfect shape. Here they are. They're obviously not absolutely perfect in every way, but they'll certainly get the job done. And here's just kind of a visual aid to show you my goal with these. Now this pipe is exactly 1 inch in diameter, so we're going to take our tape measure and mark at the 1/2 inch mark right on the very end of the tube. Mark it on the other side, and then repeat the process on the other 2 sides. Now here I was trying to make a stencil out of paper, and I was going to make 4 equidistant marks and then just cut on those, but I ended up just eyeballing it and it came out okay, but as you'll see later on, well, it's not exactly perfectly symmetrical. In hindsight, I wish I'd actually stuck with this idea and not rushed through it, and I would have ended up with a much better piece in the end. But seeing as I didn't do that, who gives a shit, so let's just go cut! Metal is hot. Wear gloves. There we go, there's the rough fitting. It's not exactly perfect, but I don't exactly care. And now that all the cutting's done, we can finally move on to welding. Now here's the thing about welding. I have no idea how to weld, but the best way to learn how to do something is to just do it. And to all my fellow caffeine addicts out there, here's to you. I just got some practice welds in with the extra scrap metal that I had left over from cutting the fins, and oh boy, they're rough. But I ended up learning quite a bit, and pretty quickly too. And now you guys get an exclusive look at my heart breaking on camera.
What just happened? Why'd you turn off? Oops.
Now to be fair, this was the absolute cheapest welder that they had at Lowe's, and I really wasn't expecting too much from it. But goddamn, this is the second time I'd ever used it ever. And it literally just stopped. I didn't pop a breaker, I didn't break anything internally. In fact, I took the thing apart and tried to figure out what was wrong with it, and it just died. So overall, if you're in the market for a welder, skip this one. I just bought another welder. Let's go ahead and remove the innards. This thing came with a handy dandy DVD teaching you how to weld. I haven't watched it. Now this, kids, is a lesson in why you keep your receipts. Because I was able to get all the money back that I spent on the other welder, and I spent a bit more on this one, but I have a lot more confidence in it, and it's a much, much better machine. Keep your receipts. Oh my god, not again. False alarm, just had to fix the wire spool. Now I'm all done with my practice welds and I'm comfortable enough to move on to the real thing. This is a welder's magnet, and boy oh boy did it come in handy in this project. Absolutely get yourself one of these things. It was invaluable on this project. Cue welding montage. Now I'm obviously not ready to be a professional welder or anything, and honestly I'm not proud of my welds at all. They look like shit. But for my first time, with no prior practice or experience or hell even knowledge of the craft, I think it could have came out worse. Now this welder's magnet, no end to its uses. So it just so happens to have an exactly 1-inch diameter hole in the middle, which I was able to use to hold up the staff for hours and hours of grinding. I used a wire brush to get rid of whatever loose metal gunk I could. and then got right to work with my 60 grit flap disc grinding wheel. Huh, try saying that 10 times fast. Cue music! Now that we're all ground up, you can go ahead and put some blue masking tape over the ball to get it ready for painting. Now again, I want to say I'm not incredibly happy with these welds. I didn't know what I was doing, and I really didn't know how to weld a bead properly, so I just kind of went a little too fast, and it looks a little bit jank. However, it kind of fits in with the whole allegory for Industrial Revolution thing that Saruman represents, so I'm not heartbroken. I was just gonna go over this thing with a few coats of flat black, but it looks a bit shinier and glossier in images, so I scrapped that idea and slapped on a primer layer. Now, I of course forgot to show it on camera, but I was using Krylon Lacquer Gloss Black. I'm really happy with how it came out. Let's get this masking tape off the ball. Now we gotta do something about these gaps, because they're pretty bad. So my plan of attack was hot glue, the most versatile material in existence. After filling it up and getting rid of the excess, I really took my time trying to smooth it out and get it nice and perfectly flat. It of course wasn't perfect, but I'm happy with how it came out. Now let's tape this baby right back up and do 2 more coats of paint. This was by far the most satisfying part of the build for me. Finally getting to see it almost in its completely finished form was just so exciting for me. Now that all the little paint leaks are scraped off of the ball, we're ready to go for at least 2 coats of Krylon lacquer clear coat. gentlemen, it's time for glam shots. And I found this stick in the woods that looks an awful lot like Gandalf's staff in Moria, so I took it home. Overall, I'm very happy with how this project came out. It's a bit of a bumpy ride, but as is usually the case with every single project I undertake, I feel like I really learned a lot. And not only that, I have something pretty cool to show for it. Now, I'm a pretty huge Lord of the Rings fan, clearly, and this makes a wonderful addition to my collection. I'm literally just gonna start another marathon right now. And I hope you do as well. I hope you enjoyed this video, I hope you share it, leave a like, comment, hell, maybe even subscribe. Now go out there and make something. Bye!
It's ours. It came to us.